Voices. Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. All schools, colleges and childcare facilities will close from tomorrow in response to the coronavirus outbreak. University Hospital Waterford stepped up efforts to prevent the spread of coronavirus. People in Waterford have begun stocking up on food and essentials after this morning's announcement. And in sport, Irish sport is facing blanket shutdown as government issues advice on outdoor gatherings. All schools, colleges and childcare facilities will close from tomorrow in response to the coronavirus outbreak. Restrictions have also been announced on mass gatherings, but shops are being advised to stay open. Our political correspondent, Sean Defoe, reports.
The upper anchors in Washington DC, where last night Donald Trump banned all flights from 26 European countries involved in Schengen from entering the US. This morning, the Taoiseach announced new restrictions to start in Ireland as well.
Schools, colleges and childcare facilities will close from tomorrow. Where possible, teaching will be done online or remotely. Cultural institutions will close as well. Our advice is that all indoor mass gatherings of more than 100 people and outdoor mass gatherings of more than 500 people should be cancelled.
Online teaching is going to be encouraged, but this may be more difficult for secondary schools. Anyone arriving to Ireland is to be informed if they may need to self-isolate. People are being advised to work from home if possible, and businesses told that they should be responsible with their workforce. Shops and cafes are being asked to stay open, but to put in place measures to allow social distancing. Efforts are also underway to ensure that supply chains remain open. Public transport will keep running as normal. The government says it's putting every resource into tackling the spread of the virus in Ireland. Later on, the Cabinet meets and Leo Varadkar will meet with Donald Trump at the White House, where the coronavirus is likely to be high on the agenda. Sean Defoe in Washington DC.
Professor John Crown, a leading cancer specialist, says the government should have gone further in relation to banning gatherings.
The ban on gatherings, I must say, is a little bit less radical than I would have thought and a little bit less radical than I would have recommended. There was a relatively small meeting in Boston last month, in which a large number of people became infected. My own sense is they should have banned all meetings, conferences, etc.
Ireland has officially moved to the delay phase in a bid to tackle the spread of coronavirus. Minister for Health Simon Harris says it follows the latest advice from the National Public Health Emergency Team.
We've made it clear that we will always take the right measures at the right time and for the right length of time. Now, this morning is that time. Today, we have moved to the delay phase of COVID-19.
University Hospital Waterford has stepped up efforts to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The first case at the facility was confirmed on Tuesday night. WR's Sinead Ahern reports.
University Hospital Waterford is asking people attending outpatient appointments to present on their own where possible. They've also confirmed that a number of elective surgeries have been cancelled. Affected patients are being contacted directly by the hospital and will be rescheduled as soon as possible. Visitor restrictions also remain in place due to infection control concerns. The hospital says they regret any inconvenience caused to patients and relatives by these necessary measures, which are being taken in the interest of patient care. They say all infection control measures are in place and every effort is being made to manage and contain the spread of infection.
Management at a factory in Waterford City, which employs 300 people, has said an employee has a confirmed case of COVID-19. It was confirmed this morning that a male employee at Cartamundi, previously known as Hasbro, is being treated for the virus. The company has a long-established factory on the IDA industrial estate in Waterford City making board games. Staff yesterday evening received a letter from the HSE Public Health Department saying that they have identified all the relevant contacts in this case. They will have been or will be notified by the public health team. Workers were told that if they were not contacted by the public health team, they've not been identified as a contact. People have begun stocking up on food and essentials after this morning's announcement. This man describes what it's like inside one large supermarket in Waterford.
It's absolutely crazy. I passed here walking the dog about 3/4 of an hour ago and there was hardly anybody here. Look at it now, it's totally packed. You know, huge run on stuff like, but I mean, I think it's a bit ridiculous to be quite honest with you. You know, the likes of the shelf inside, I just took a photograph just to see what it's like. The likes of toilet rolls and kitchen towels, totally gone.
He says he didn't stock up on anything himself.
Not really, no. I just shopped as normal. That was the only thing, because, at the end of the day, I know people are a bit concerned. But I think at the end of the day that, the likes of supermarkets, chemists will still remain open. I think it's just with the Taoiseach having come out with the schools closed, and I think there's an element of panicking. It's a bit like Christmas inside there. And I just wonder at the end of the day how much will go in the bin after, because the sell-by dates will be gone by. So, I think if people just be a bit more sensible, get what you have, leave the things that might be necessary for older people that they stock up on, because the younger people can get out and do what they need to do at the end of the day,
Ireland's ambassador to the US, Waterford man Dan Mulhall, took the Taoiseach's place as keynote speaker at a lunch in Washington yesterday. He quoted what is written on the National Memorial dedicated to Franklin Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the US.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyses needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. That was a comment made by President Roosevelt on his inauguration in 1933, a time like now of great uncertainty and a degree of panic. Now we have COVID-19, which is something to fear, undoubtedly, causing great disruption. But unreasoning terror, which President Roosevelt warned against, will not aid the fight against the virus. Combating the coronavirus requires cool heads, trust in science and international cooperation.
Ryanair and Aer Lingus are both monitoring the situation but have made no changes to their schedules since the Taoiseach's announcement. These people at Dublin Airport are going on holiday and have not changed their original plans.
I'm not worried. I think you have more risk of dying when you are cycling in Dublin.
Yeah, well, I'll take precautions that I can take, but sure. It's a risk, isn't it?
I know from experience over there the Maltese health system is very good and they're very rigid and all that. I have every faith in them over there. We wouldn't be going unless we didn't think it was a high risk.
Jobs have already been lost in the hospitality sector because of the coronavirus, according to Tourism Ireland. Many hotels have had cancellations as fewer people are travelling, while bars and restaurants are also suffering a downturn in trade. The IDA has warned foreign direct investment is also likely to be hit because of the spread of COVID-19. Head of Tourism Niall Gibbons says some in the hospitality sector are already struggling.
We already have seen some enterprises let people go already. There's an industry that it depends on demand pipeline, and the demand pipeline, particularly in the corporate sector, has dried up. Bookings have dried up in the leisure sector as well. So that just makes things difficult for certain operators on the ground.
Gardaí are believed to be following a definite line of inquiry after a woman was killed in a hit-and-run in Killiney in Dublin. They're looking into the possibility that 3 suspects went to the pub after their getaway car knocked down 54-year-old Jacqueline McGovern on Tuesday night. It followed a shop robbery in nearby Dalkey minutes beforehand. Journalist with Independent News and Media Conor Feehan says Garda investigations are ongoing.
They are trying to check to see if after the 3 men went on the run following the collision on Avondale Road and Ballinclay Road, that it's possible that they later regrouped in a pub in the area. At the same time, they're investigating the car that was left at the scene.
WLR Sport.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Virgin Mobile on a 30-day contract. Nothing hidden.
And a very good afternoon, I'm Gavin, Whelan, starting with the sporting fixtures which are set to wreak havoc as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. All indoor mass gatherings of more than 100 people and outdoor mass gatherings of more than 500 people will be affected, with sporting organisations likely to have to postpone or play games behind closed doors. The GA are seeking clarity on a few issues, and a statement on their weekend's fixtures is expected later today. They'll be one of a number of national governing bodies attending a meeting with the Department of Health officials later, with more updates expected to come out after that. The FAI are also due to release a statement this afternoon with regard to their fixtures and the League of Ireland fixtures over the coming days and weeks. Waterford FC due to travel to Talca Park to take on Shelbourne tomorrow night. Racing, there could be some familiar winners of the big races in the third day of Cheltenham. It's the penultimate day of the festival across the water. Mike Vince reports from the course.
A year ago, Paisley Park was such an impressive winner of the Stayers, and he's back for more. owned by Andrew Gemmell, who's blind and trained by MLFL. He's got 14 rivals, but Frodon's famous victory in last year's Ryanair could also be up for repeat with Brownie Frost on board. But A Plus Tard and the rising star of Ireland's Lady Ranks, Rachel Blackmore, poses a real threat. Another terrific day ahead.
Elsewhere, the 7-race card, Royal Thief represents Henry de Bromhead and promising young jockey Hugh Morgan in the pre-Thames hurdle, while the local trainer is no doubt expecting a big performance from A Plus Tard in a competitive Ryanair chase. Other runners for Henry during the afternoon include Manila Melody, who joins Col Reevy, owned by the Flynn family in Dungarvan. That's in the 450 Dawn Run Novices hurdle, while in the concluding contest, Plan of Attack represents the Butlerstown trainer. So no doubt another busy day in prospect. The Ladies Football Association have announced that this weekend's third level O'Connor Cup semi-finals have been postponed. The final stages of the Giles Cup have also been postponed on public health grounds. Rory McIlroy will tee off alongside John Ram and Brooks Koepka as he begins the defence of golf's Players' Championship later. The 30-year-old won last year by a stroke at TPC Sawgrass over Jim Furyk. The PGA Tour event is often referred to as golf's unofficial fifth major. Wales head coach Wayne Pivac has made 4 changes to the team that was beaten by England last weekend for this Saturday's Guinness Six Nations clash against Scotland. Scrum half Rhys Webb makes his first start for his country in almost 2.5 years, while uncapped sail prop Will Griff John, front row Alwyn Jones and lock Corey Hill come into the side. A Formula 1 team has withdrawn from this weekend's season opening Australian Grand Prix, even it's after a member of McLaren tested positive for coronavirus. World champion Lewis Hamilton earlier criticised the sports bosses for going ahead with the event in Melbourne. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.